welcome to the Box Angels podcast with me, your host. Hi, I'm Mike Elder. Whether you're listening to the audio on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or you're watching over on YouTube, I really appreciate you being here. If you're new to the program, what I do is sit down with entertainment professionals and I discuss how they navigate show business. And we've got a great episode for you this week, a unique one, a different one. I sit down with acting coach and teacher Lesly Kahn. If you're not familiar with Lesly, she's been teaching and coaching in Hollywood for something like 30 years. A lot of well-known actors have traveled through her doors. A lot of past Box Angeles guests have studied under her. She's sort of a legend when it comes to teaching. Her coaching tree, a lot of her former teacher students have gone on to make their own studios. So she's got a broad and big influence in the industry. And this conversation was really insightful. We talked about that coaching tree. We talked about her getting a BFA and an MFA and not knowing how to act and how she wants to teach her ways to all actors, myself included, and learn how to find the clues in the script and how to use your thoughts to navigate your auditions. To that end, we may have gone through one of my previous auditions. She worked on it with me. She was really excited and really wanted to do that. So we did that for a little bit. I don't know if you'll like that or not, to be honest, but we did it. This is a really fun conversation, though. Lesly's very intense and very passionate, and it comes across in how she speaks about what she does and how she helps people. So I think people are really going to enjoy this conversation. It was a lot of fun. It was like a tornado of energy had come through my room. So it was a cool conversation, different, and I think everyone's going to dig it. So I'm going to stop rambling. Let's get to it. Without further ado, I give you
Lesly Kahn.
Hi, Lesly.
Hi.
I'm so excited to talk to you.
Do you want to be Mike? Do you want to be Box?
You can call me whatever you want. Nobody in LA really calls me Box, unfortunately.
You want that?
Well, no, not necessarily, but I named my podcast after it. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be a mistake because it confuses people.
It's very confusing.
Yeah.
But why?
I got to rebrand.
Yeah, maybe. Why Box?
My last name's Elder, and where I'm from in Minnesota, Box Elder tree, Box Elder bug. So everyone used to call me Box Elder, and then it just shortened to Box.
Oh. Well, we are also from the Midwest.
Oh, where are you from, Leslie?
We're from Highland Park, Illinois.
Oh, beautiful.
North of Chicago.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, but we don't know from this Box Elder either. So I don't know how the coast people
Box Elder bugs, are like little ladybugs. They come around in like the spring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the Box Elder trees have like those little helicopter things that sort of fall down, those little seeds that fall like so. Anyways, we don't want to talk about me. Nobody cares about me. Everyone wants to know about you, Lesly.
I actually do want to talk about you.
We'll do that. We'll save that for the end.
I don't know.
I want to talk about you, though, Lesly.
We can talk about me, but I would just like to argue with you because it is my favorite thing to do.
Please.
Only because you're an actor.
Yeah,
and that's what you really want to do. And
yes.
I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually an acting teacher.
Oh, I did know that.
It's true. It's true. I am one. So I feel like we should be talking about you, and you should be talking to me about your acting career.
Interesting. Is this what you do with your students?
Well, usually they're actually paying me to do that.
I'm getting a free one.
You are. And, and usually they come to me for that purpose. So you're different in that way.
Yeah, I'm lucky that way. See, I'm trying to tell all the actors, make your own content, make up a fake thing. None of this is going to go on the internet. And I'm just getting a free one-on-one class with
But yes. And, as I'm listening to you talk to Robert Ulrich, the genius, and others of them, and I'm like, you are a genius. This is you have them as a captive audience. You are fascinated by what they're saying. So you're not thinking about yourself. You're not self-conscious. You're not worried about your lines. You're not worried about the character. You're not worried about the show. You're not worried about anything. So they're really getting to see you and who you are. And then lo and behold, they're going to call you and say, listen, if you ever see anything in the breakdowns that's right for you, bring me. I'm going to bring you in.
You're blowing up my spot. This is 100% it. I figured this out where I can somehow get casting directors and wonderful teachers to come talk to me for an hour as a general meeting, get me to be me, no nerves, no fake lines where I'm pretending to be an engineer or a construction worker.
Or a ladybug.
It hasn't. Or a ladybug. It hasn't paid dividends yet, though. But I'm sprouting. You can see my little bell pepper seeds that I'm sprouting over there. I'm sprouting seeds in this industry, and they always say it takes 15 years.
Are you doing what they're asking you to do? You told me before we started here that somebody said.
Yeah, Robert Ulrich reached out to me after the podcast came out last week and said, hey, if you see anything that UDK is casting, let me know. I told my manager immediately, let's pounce on this, let me know. And I told my TV agent immediately, I said, let's pounce on this. So I'm trying. I think this is something.
Excuse me, do you get the breakdowns?
I don't.
Okay. It's really hard to get the breakdowns right now, but we all have to find a way to get the breakdowns. And I'm not really, you know.
Are you dropping a little secret? What's your source right now?
I have no words to answer that question.
I was under the assumption that one casting assistant was releasing the breakdowns for many years and then got caught, because all my sources dried up right before COVID. I had like 4 sources.
It was. I believe that it's not. I believe breakdowns came down on it. Breakdown services. Sense, yeah, that's what usually happens when this happens. But the best thing that we could possibly do is all find a way to get the breakdowns underground, so that then you can directly, because he texted you or he emailed you. Your agent has a gajillion actors that he has to worry about. You only have you.
I agree. You're speaking my language. I agree more. When I had the breakdowns, I specifically looked for people I knew from UCB, IO, people I've interviewed on the podcast, and I would literally email them and just say, may I audition for this? I saw this. And it worked a lot.
That's honestly what I'm saying.
But I haven't had access to the breakdown since pre-COVID.
We've got to get access. You're a ball buster. Go get us freaking access to the breakdowns. What?
Us? You want them to?
Well, I'm not. I'm taking the fifth on that. But when I say us, I mean we actors.
I think you're right. I think you do have to be sort of creative with how you go about working the system. And you have to, I learned this really early on in the podcast, you can't be worried about stepping on toes. You can't be worried about a no. You need to just go out of the way and email Robert Ulrich and ask them to be on your podcast. Email, you know what I mean? You have to go out of your way to engage these people, because they're their main character in their story. They're not thinking about Mike and Leslie. They're thinking about themselves.
It's true.
And I'm a distant afterthought.
I would just be careful of how you do that. I wouldn't just be a bull in a china shop.
Definitely not.
I saw something on Instagram yesterday where some woman said, always put the word because in your request. Robert, I saw this thing on the breakdowns and I really would like to audition for it. You should bring me in because...
Absolutely.
Did you see my short film where I played somebody just like that? I'm attaching it here because I think I do a great job in that. Also, because this is my personal experience, right? So give them a good reason, aside from the fact that they met you 3 years ago and thought you had a cute beard.
I couldn't agree. Well, thank you. That felt like you felt that way. But anyway, I couldn't agree more. I think that way too. Like in the past, you should read the emails I'd send. It would be like, because I am this, or because I am perfect for this. But
you got in.
Oh yeah, more than once. I love going to people that you're asking for something from with something to give them. Like, you don't want to just email them and ask. You need to give them something or a reason or a because. I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like we're on the same page.
Okay, great. Well, this was really fun.
Do you guys teach a business class at your school?
We have. We don't anymore because it's all combined. Thank you. It's all combined now. You know, one of the things I was noticing as I was listening to how you were speaking to the casting directors is it's very business oriented for you, you know. And one of the things I hear a lot from actors is, well, I'm doing all the business things right. Why am I not, getting in? Well, you say that you're the girl next door. Where's your girl next door tape? Oh, well, what am I supposed to do? I don't have that tape. I haven't gotten a co-star or a guest star for that. Make one. You have a cell phone. What do you do? Oh, well, I'm not really good. Well, okay, but this is the business now.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it either. Thank God I'm not still an actor, because I would have to learn how to do all those things. So, even though it's very much first about what you look like and your essence. Once you get past that, once we all agree that you're right for this part, then can you act it?
Yeah.
Is your acting going to be better than everybody else's acting in your type? And that's what has to be. So that's my experience, is that, you guys are... your generation is really, really good at the marketing. You're ball busters. You're the generations after mine where marketing wasn't even discussed.
Right.
It wasn't even a topic. So when I first heard about it, when I came out here, did you ever know of Sam Christensen?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was the marketing guy.
Okay.
He started doing, and he created this thing, the Sam Christensen method.
Yes.
And he was a casting director. He was he cast MASH.
Okay. Among
other things. He was the man. And he sort of woke up one day and went, what are the actors going to do? There's no longer a studio, with Mr. Metro Goldwyn Mayer saying, you're the hero, you're the whatever, you're the femme fatale. And these actors are not represented in that way. I'm going to teach them what they're marketing and how to market it.
Yeah.
And he was the first one, I believe, that started doing it. And now all of you are doing that, and it's great. But I think sometimes the focus has gone off the actual act.
I don't disagree, but I think what my thought is, and I studied engineering in college, right? So I have like a math-centric brain, and I think, yes, there is a value to me. I point to the screen this wall because that's where I do my self-tapes. But like, there's obviously a value to being a good actor, 100%. But like, to me, the business side is so in our control. It's so like, everyone has different tastes. You can ask 100 people if they think Walton Goggins is a great actor, and 99 will say yes, but 1 will say no because there's a subjectivity to it. But the business side of it is in our control 100%, and everybody can learn it.
Okay.
And I think knowing to control it and having that, then you can't worry about any of that stuff, and all you can focus on is the acting, which I think is beneficial, right?
Except,
tell me.
Some people are putting out a really beautiful Mercedes without any tires.
Sure.
And it's got a big gash in the driver's side door, and the fender is really fucked.
Yeah.
And they've killed themselves marketing-wise. And I got to tell you something about casting directors. They all have insane memories. They are elephants. They will remember everything. I heard the Robert Ulrich one, and that's what he said. He said, I have an insane memory. I remember everything that ever happened. So what you don't want to do is show them the dent in your fender.
Sure.
And because they're going to be minimum a year before they're going to see you again. Minimum a year.
Yeah.
And by then you've died, or you've gone home, or you've gone back to engineering.
You've died. No. That's so dark.
Well,
I love that though. It's cold. It's not cold, but it's to the point, and that's how I like to deliver stuff too. That's to the point. But I would say though, like, you can beat yourself up a lot. I can do a self-tape and do 20 takes, and see good in all of them and see bad in all of them. But like business-wise, like I'm talking even just like making sure you properly frame, making sure you have proper microphone and stuff. I think because you can control that, that's just like a nice thing where you can be on top of that and get that locked in, and then you can focus on the acting.
Yes.
But I think obviously,
what happens if you've got the gorgeous frame and the gorgeous light and everything is beautiful, and you've discovered that the ring light is not the best thing in the world for you to use, and you have other lighting and everything is great, and you have the fucked up fender? Then what?
You take classes.
Right. So you've got to make sure there's no fucked up fender.
Yeah.
Okay? And I don't want you doing 20 takes. Why are you doing 20 takes?
I'm not. I was just using an example.
All right.
Oof.
No 20 takes.
Oh, God, no.
Life is too short.
That would... No way. So actually, I want to ask you this. Do you ever think about, to that degree, I've taken a lot of classes. I've never taken yours. I apologize.
I am aware.
But I have taken your...
Completely aware.
I have taken your, like, disciples, if you will. You have, like, a decent coaching tree. Do you ever think about that, being in the business 30 years? How many people... You obviously have had so many actors come through your doors, but, like, all the people you've taught and then have gone off and done their own things. Have you ever thought about, like that sort of tree, that coaching tree you have?
Sure. I mean, of course, there are just so many of them. And it's sort of, it's an honor.
Yeah.
That so many people have come through and gone, this is fucking great. I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go teach the same thing. And I don't know that that's actually what has occurred. I feel like, it's just like, I'm going to now liken myself to Stanislavski, Mr. Box. It's like what happened to Stanislavski. He created his method in the late 1890s, early 1900s, and then the group theater went, oh, let's resurrect Stanislavski in the 1930s. And then they all got in an argument, and Meisner went, oh, it's all about repeating. And Stella said, no, it's all about substitution. And Strasberg said, no, it is all about smelling coffee that isn't there. And they all got in big fights and opened up their own schools that were derivative of Meisner, and that's where we are today. So, yeah, I feel, kind of cool.
Flattered, but also a little... You don't necessarily agree with some of their choices they've made.
Oh, I absolutely disagree, but but it's their prerogative. They again. But I also disagree with Stella and Strasberg and Meisner, so I'm very disagreeable.
Right.
And so I've worked. I was an actor, and so I was just telling my friend this morning. I went to a really ritzy undergrad school, and I was supposed to learn how to act there. Got a BFA in acting. Had no idea how to act.
Sure.
So I thought, well, since I don't know how to act, better go to another ritzy school. So I went to another ritzy school and got an MFA, and still didn't know how to act.
Yeah.
And it bugged the crap out of me. I'll never forget an audition where they saw the name of the school on the resume, and they brought me in, and I read, and they went, "Oh, okay, that was good. Could you do it again? And could you just do less?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I did less, and they went, "Could you do less?" And I did less, and they went, "Could you do even less?" And I did, and obviously I did not get a call back. And I had what did they mean? I did what they said. If you go and you get a BA and a BFA and an MFA, you are nothing if you are not good at taking direction.
Right.
I did exactly what they said, but it didn't work. And I think that's what happens to actors all the time. They go in the old days. They go in, they get a direction when we used to go in rooms. Remember those days of old? And casting would give us a direction, and we'd take the direction, and they'd go, "Thank you." Because we didn't take their direction because we didn't understand how to act.
Yeah.
We just didn't understand what acting was, and it made me insane to come out having a BFA and an MFA from the most prestigious schools in the world,
right.
And I couldn't act. Now, I'm not saying that I couldn't act at all. Obviously, I could act in theater. I just couldn't afford to do theater, right? And I couldn't afford to do theater because of the BFA and the MFA.
Yeah.
And because I got into those programs young, I had to pay for them, right? Where you get grants when you go in older, or at least you did in the olden days. And so I couldn't do what I was educated to do, and I couldn't get very much work in TV and film until I started teaching.
What schools were these?
I went to NYU for my BFA and to Yale for my MFA. And before NYU, I went to Cornell because I was like, I'm not going to act. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to go to law school. I'm going to make my parents happy. I'm just going to be a nice Jewish lawyer, and it's going to be fine. Right.
We've all had that.
Right. And that didn't.
But okay,
last.
so how do you synthesize down your classes? Can you do like a log line of what you think acting is and how it should be approached then, is what you're saying?
Yeah. You think. Acting is thinking. What are you doing right now?
What am I doing right
now?
Yeah,
are you paying attention to how you feel?
Yeah, so I think I use it. I think I use an iteration of yours.
I'm sure you do. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a coach who likes to do the thought per line type of thing. Every line's a different thought.
No.
So that's kind of how I approach it. Another thing, though, that I really like to do is most of my auditions are co-stars, so it's 2-3 lines. Mm-hmm. I like to try to approach it with the idea that everyone knows who I am. They know Mike Elder. He's a famous person, and I just bring the Mike Elder to those 2 or 3 lines.
So let us have a conversation.
Ooh, tell me.
That's probably one of the main things I disagree with in actor training. I think that Stanislavski...
Wait, which part?
Bring yourself to the role.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe that's what Stanislavski said. I do believe that, and I don't remember which one, Meisner or Strasberg or Adler, or maybe even, it wasn't Michael Chekhov. Did you hear this thing about Michael Chekhov?
No.
I heard this thing. I was listening to a Milton Justice podcast, and he's a big teacher in New York. I believe he's a Meisner teacher, but I don't remember. Anyway, he had somebody on who said that at the beginning, when Stanislavski was teaching, it was all about use yourself, bring yourself. And Michael Chekhov had a nervous breakdown because he was using himself. And Stanislavski felt so badly that he paid for Michael Chekhov's therapy to bring him back to sanity. Yeah, can you believe that?
That's crazy.
So I feel that way.
So don't bring yourself.
Don't bring yourself. Who else is coming? I'm not coming. Who else is going in that room? Who else is making that tape? There's a character written here on the page. There's a breakdown. There are given circumstances. There's all kinds of stuff written on the page. You're going to be the vehicle. You're that Mercedes. I just hope it doesn't have a dent in it.
Right.
So I think a big dent is all characters are me. No, all characters are not you. If you're playing, what do I always say? If you're playing David Schwimmer's character on Friends, are you a Jewish paleontologist who's neurotic? No, you're not. You need to be thinking Jewish paleontologist thoughts, right? You can't be thinking was an engineer and now super famous podcaster who also wants to act thoughts.
Sure.
You cannot. And that's what we do. We go right to the text and we go, well, how would I behave if I was at Central Perk? How would I feel if I was at Central Perk? How would I feel if I were in these given circumstances? And to me, If anything, you do that last. The first thing you do is what does this character think in these given circumstances, in this genre, and in this relationship? And that adjusts everything.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the opposite. And what I recently learned is that's really what Stanislavski was teaching. And then everybody went away from that and decided, be yourself. Now, listen, be yourself is an amazing acting 101 thing to do. What a great exercise. But this character is not you. Are you a doctor on Grey's Anatomy? No, you're not a doctor. You need to think doctor thoughts. But Mike Elder is so interesting. It's true. And Mike Elder is going to be the, what do you call it, between the tiles?
The grout?
The grout. Mike Elder is the grout.
Oh, no.
You're the grout, but you're not the fucking
With
tile.
the mildew and everything.
No mildew. You put that white stuff on it and you make it all nice and clean. You're the grout.
But can I push back on this for a second? Can I push back on this for a second? So like a recent audition I had was one line on a sitcom. It was a mover role, and it was, I'm going to come back and get the couch. Mm-hmm. That's all I got was that portion of the script. It said mover 30 to 40. Mm-hmm. How I like your style because I took a class on this as well. And I liked it when we have more breakdowns and we have a full script and stuff. But when you only get such a minute part, how do you approach that? I'm curious.
Show me the paper.
I think it's up there.
Well, you have to. I can't see up there.
We have a guest audience. Susie, can you just grab that stack of papers and hand it to me?
Show me the paper.
So these are all my recent auditions. I've had 3 TV auditions this year. Let me see if I can find the one I need. And we can't. Oh, no. But essentially, it was just the last scene of the last...
You got to show me the paper.
Oh, God.
Because the answer is probably on the paper. And it's just hidden. Because we actors are not taught to read the paper the way we need to read the paper. We're taught to bring ourselves to the role. We're taught to go, how would you feel if you were a mover? We're taught to go, that's it.
Okay, here's a different shorter one. Okay, this is all I got, and it said construction worker. What?
Great.
It said construction worker, and I got half a page of information. I know the show, so I try to put myself in that world.
You know, I asked you to send this to me beforehand so I wouldn't have to sit here and read it during your podcast. But no, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Box would not send this to me beforehand. He has a huge stack of scenes, and he is making me read them while we are on the podcast.
I apologize. You had asked if I wanted to run through a recent audition, and I didn't know if that would be great. But this is an example of the scene. So when it's a co-star like this and I don't have much information, I'm curious how you would approach it.
You got to let me read it.
Oh, sorry.
So now we have to read it. Okay. So entertain the people.
Okay, so Leslie's reading an audition I had recently for a single cam show, and I was a construction worker. I'm often cast or audition as a construction worker, so I bought a vest recently to start wearing to my auditions so that I could look like it's a construction worker. She's really breaking it down. I took a class on this as well where you put some thoughts behind it. And I like the sound of my own voice. It's pretty damn good, honestly. And,
okay. So you want to read this one with me?
I don't know if I can memorize it, but sure.
Do you have a copier?
No, I don't have a copier. I go to the library and print.
Can you pull it up on your phone?
Oh, wow. I can try.
I mean, I just don't know how to do it unless we do it, because otherwise we're just speaking theoretically, and speaking theoretically drives me insane. We need to look at the exact paper. Okay. So you guys, can I say what it's from, or am I not allowed to?
I would not, because it's not out yet, and that was part of my worry about...
Right. I was concerned about it too. Oh, Susie's going to take a picture of the page. Take a picture of the page. She's a genius. Mike.
Oh, yeah.
Take a picture of the page.
Here we go. All right. Got it.
Okay. So this is from a half-hour single
cam comedy.
Okay. And at the top of the page, it says, these 2 characters pull out and are stopped by 3 workers in front of another character's driveway, blocking the street with cones. And you say...
Street's closed. Got to go out the other way.
And then this one character says, you can't just close the road because you're remodeling this bitch's house. You guys probably just know her as bitch. Come on, man, just move the cone. And the construction worker lifts up the cone.
Fine. Road's open.
And then he drops the cone.
Oops. Road's closed. Too late.
And then another character says, you don't have to be a dick. And then the construction worker says,
you a tough guy? What the fuck are you going to do?
And this one character's face goes cold as he stares down the worker. And then it says rack focus, as in a certain episode that they literally list in the sides. And they literally give you the second at which they want you to look and see, or they're going to show that thing. The character gets out, looks to fight. Another character honks the horn, which snaps the character that was going to fight out of it. And that character says, get back in the car, to the other character, and then says, for me. Now, I think there's an enormous amount of information in here. First of all, I would go to that episode that they're talking about, and we know that we have it because it says here on the paper, you guys, that this is this particular show, and it says that it's in its second season. It's the 4th episode of the second season. The episode that they're talking about is in the first season, and it's actually the pilot, and they tell you exactly where to go in that pilot to find out what they're referencing. So the first thing I would do is go find out what the hell they're referencing.
Yep.
And then, of course, I would watch that episode so that I knew who the characters were and what was going on. That would give me an enormous amount of information.
Yep.
I don't remember this first episode.
He was just a fight. He was in a fight. He's a quick trigger. So he got in a fight.
He's a quick trigger.
Yeah.
And so my guess would be that in this episode, that there's something about this character's quick trigger.
Correct.
And that here on page 17, right in the middle of this episode, that your character is literally brought here to show us what a quick trigger he has and how he's working on that quick trigger.
Yep.
So that tells me how to play your character.
And that's why I tried to play it more contentious. Like I had played it a little more relaxed.
Well,
but then,
is that what you just did?
At the end, yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so I would start out contentious because if you just are really, really nice and you're like, hey, street's closed, got to go the other way, right? I don't know that gets this character, I keep wanting to say the character's name, this character to fight with you, right? I think you've got to be our idea of a construction worker, which is, hey, get the fuck away from my fucking face, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's doing this. Everybody's coming up here, which would then cause Jimmy to be like, you can't do that, And also he's got a problem with the road being closed. Oh, he's got a problem with the road being closed because they're, how do I say this that doesn't get, say what it is? Because of an issue with the neighbor. Right?
Yeah.
So clearly this character has a huge problem with the neighbor, right? And you coming out and being contentious, right, really gets his stuff up. And you lift up the cone then and you say, fine, road's open. I call that a reversal. Okay, I think your character has a reversal. And if you, the actor, don't reverse at that line, that tells the writer you don't understand the scene. Yeah. So I think right there you have to be, oh, wow, God, I didn't know it was so important to you, dude. Please forgive me. And then you say, fine. And then and the guy doesn't move. And that's why you go on and say, road's open. It's much more specific. There's a huge joke there. And I think we miss it because we go, well, I'm just going to play it like this. So then you drop the cone and you reverse again with, oops, roads closed too late. Your job in this audition is 2 reversals at the top of the scene. That's massive. And that's an astounding piece of tape. But what we actors do is we go, I'll just be a construction worker. I'll just generally be contentious, or I'll generally be nice, is what I think happens to us. And so then he goes, you don't have to be a dick. Now, the reason he says you're a dick is because of that reversal you did. And reversal, you guys, is something that Aristotle came up with 2,400 years ago. I didn't come up with this shit. Although I'm really working to make sure that all of Hollywood uses the word reversal instead of the word turn, because I think we should give Aristotle some fucking credit, right? Because he said 2,400 years ago that reversal or surprise is the cornerstone of all acting. It's because isn't that what we love about that movie, Sixth Sense? Isn't that why we go to every movie? Isn't that why we turn on the TV? Isn't that why we watch sports? Because we freaking love to be surprised. Isn't that why we watch horror and space movies and all of these things? We love to be surprised. So usually the writer will write the surprises in the text. We just have to be able to see them. And we actors are taught to work on how we feel, not on how we read. So we miss things that, and the writer, you know, they look at your tape, and as soon as she sees that you don't really go to town on your reversal, and I say she, the casting director, on fine and roads are open, she turns off your tape.
Yeah.
Okay? Because we all know they used to see 10 people in the morning and 10 people in the afternoon, and now they have to see 300 tapes a day. As soon as she sees you don't get it, she's done with you.
Yeah.
She doesn't need to see the whole rest of the scene. And even though you're saying, but Leslie, there are only 3 lines. Maybe I'll do something great at the end of the line. Yeah. Maybe at the end of the scene, and maybe you will, and that's phenomenal. But you already showed her that Mercedes with the bashed-in driver's side door, no tires, and the fucking what do you call it? The fender.
Yeah.
It's all screwed up.
I love that, and I think I did do that in my audition. I definitely reversed it and went from couldn't be bothered to oh sure, road's open, and then reversed it again. But I guess my question initially was where do you mine, and I appreciate that breakdown, but where do you mine sort of like this character's thoughts from? Do you just sort of come up with them in your head to get in that headspace of who this construction worker is?
Not at all. I'm a construction worker, and I see construction workers, and I don't find, there are all kinds of them on my street right now.
Yeah.
And I don't find that they're generally in the best mood.
Okay.
I find that they're sweaty. Thank you. I find that they're sweaty and tired and irritated, and wouldn't you be if you were doing their job? I don't find that they're always, unless they're having lunch, in which case you can sit down and chat with them for 25 minutes. But they're exhausted and tired and sweaty and miserable. So I don't think that when they see, I guess, is it a car? Yeah, it's when they see a car, coming up, would you be the first car that's trying to get through the roadblock that you have very carefully put the freaking orange cones on?
Yeah.
Right? And how many times and I'm in a comedy. And what's the first thing we do in comedy? We raise our stakes. So I'm like, my thought is going to be, as soon as I see that, it's a text-based thought. I'm making nothing up. I'm like, motherfucker, in my mind, street's closed. You got to go the other way. You're the 19th person that just decides to ignore my fucking orange cone. Are you fucking blind? Right?
Yeah.
That's where I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not making it up. I'm not doing anything. I'm taking it straight off the page. And this is what I am trying to teach you all, is that it's all on the page, even when it's one line. That's why I'm dying to see that one that you said was one line. And I said, let me see the page. Let me see the page. This isn't 3 lines. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines with all kinds of stage direction, half of a page.
Agreed.
This is a wonderful mine. And we didn't even finish. After you do the reversal on, oops, rose closed, you drop the cone. I wouldn't even turn it there. I'd go, oops, road's closed, big smile. And then I'd reverse on too late, because you're so sick of these people who are fucking with your ability to do your goddamn job and get out of here. And then Sean goes, you don't have to be a dick. And now this guy's coming at you? Right? Oh, you a tough guy? What's happening?
No, you're good.
Am I too loud?
No, you're good.
Okay.
I love this intensity.
But this is why I'm intense.
No,
because I didn't
I'm
learn
not talking
any
about
of
your
this.
character. I'm talking about your passion for what you're teaching.
But this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I wasn't taught this. I went for 7 years. I have a BFA and an MFA, and I wasn't taught this.
And a lot of debt.
And a lot of debt, which I paid off. Which
Hell yeah.
makes me really
Congrats.
happy. But this is why I am passionate, because it's right here. I want you to see that it's right here. I want you to stop doing self-tapes with no tires.
Yeah.
I want that to stop, because it can stop. 7 years of school I attended, and I didn't learn this. Now, do I think that those schools were out to get me? Absolutely not. I don't think they knew this any more than I knew it. And I only started to learn it because you teach what you need to learn. I got so lucky. I got a teaching job. And in the teaching job, I'm like looking at these actors. And this was years and years ago. I'm looking at them, and I'm like trying to teach them method. I'm trying to teach them what I was taught in my MFA. And I'm like, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? And again, I'm sure it works for some people, but it doesn't work for most.
Yeah.
And so, of course, I'm passionate. If I can change your life by just teaching you how to read and listen better, that's a pretty cool thing to get to do when I never got to do it.
Yeah, I love that.
I'm not saying that I wish I was an actor. I think I would be dead if I was an actor. and I mean it, because you can see that I'm a little crazy, and how much it was driving me insane that I couldn't act.
Can I ask you something? Sure. And candidly, I wanted to ask you this up top, but I think this is a good moment.
I was talking too much.
No, not at all. I love this. Do you think that you're very direct? And I'm getting the sense that I'm not particularly intimidated, but I'm getting the sense that you could be very intimidating.
You know, people say that. I don't know. Look at me. I'm here with the fluffiest dog you've ever seen.
Well, that's
right. And what?
Well, Cruella DeVille probably has a fluffy dog too, but she's still very intimidating. Not that you're Cruella DeVille, but like,
no, I think we call my mother Cruella DeVille.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah.
No, but I just think you have a very intense, like I said, you have a very intense passion about it, and it comes across as not necessarily like directed at the person, but it is directed towards the person because you're so intense. And I feel like that could probably be intimidating to a lot of people, especially insecure people.
People do tell me that I'm intimidating, and I don't know what to do about it because
I don't think you need to do anything.
Well, when you get to know me, you find out that I am just a basket case. I am nothing but a basket case.
Do you consider yourself like I honestly when your people reached out, I was like, oh, Leslie, that'd be interesting because I consider you, and keep me honest here. Do you consider yourself a polarizing figure? Like, and I don't know if that's a bad thing. I think that's probably a good thing because to me it means you're at the top of your game and people are upset with that maybe. But like, do you consider yourself polarizing? Because if I ask a bunch of actors what they think about you, some really like you and some don't like you.
Oh, okay, I can answer that. Do I consider myself polarizing? No.
Well,
but
of course,
do I know that people say terrible things about me? Absolutely. But also, you know, when you hear and you read those things, it's really easy to see why those people are saying those things. They're so scared.
Yeah.
And they're so upset. And they're just me.
Yeah.
They too, you know, probably have a BFA and an MFA, and they didn't learn how to act. And they're hanging on for dear life to that thing that they learned. And then, you know, this bitch comes in and says, nah, you don't have to do that. Just do this. It'll be really easy. Of course you're going to be like,
right.
Fuck that bitch.
Right.
How dare she say that to me? I am an actor. Right. Don't say that it's all she's so technical. She doesn't care about, right?
Intense and dramatic. I love it.
But you can see why a person would be so upset by that.
Yeah.
Right? I get it, but I also don't know what to do. I
don't think you need to do anything. And I don't think being polarizing is a bad thing. I think when you get to, you've been doing this 30 years, I think, right? And I think when you, that's incredible.
I did the math.
And I think just by sheer, like.
Just teaching. I was doing a lot of acting before that.
Right. And I think name any A-lister actor, any A-list athlete, when they are that successful at what they're doing, they're going to be polarizing to some extent. And that means I think you're being successful at what you're doing. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but some people are really going to be in your corner. And I think it just speaks to how successful you've been.
I think that's so nice of you to say. And I should try to think of it that way. I feel badly. I don't want anybody to be upset by me.
Yeah,
all I want to do is I just want them to see it because I want them to see. I want to go back and do this with you. Okay. I want to see you make that turn as hard as you can. I want to see you do it so that I can leave today going, well, I don't know what's going to happen with this podcast.
Let's save it for the end. We got 20 more minutes. Let's save it for the end.
Okay. But do you understand what I'm saying?
I absolutely understand.
Because really what you are is an actor. And really when I thought about it and I'm listening to your podcast and I'm listening to Robert Ulrich and everybody else, I'm like, what's the best thing I can do for this fucker is get him a job. The guy wants an acting job. I'm going to come on. I'm going to talk. Big fucking deal. Everybody talks. I got to get him a job.
I love that. And that would be a great follow-up if you do give me a job. But do you coach individually anymore? Or do you just have your,
yes.
You do?
Yes.
So you have people in your class that come and bring self-tapes to you and you work on it with them?
Yes, but also a lot of people that aren't in class, people that I've known forever. I'm so lucky. I get to coach all the time. I get to teach classes all the time. I get to co-teach classes. It's for me, it's an amazing thing that I get to do.
Yeah.
I get to act all the time. I get to act so much more than I would ever have gotten to act if I was an actor.
Yeah. From a coaching perspective, do you then prefer self-tapes because you get to work with them more and give them help give a finished product rather than you coach them and then send them to a room and hope for the best?
I do both. Sometimes I coach them and then send them to the room, and sometimes we coach while they're taping. Listen, everybody is different. All of you are different. And sometimes I like to say that what I'm teaching is, well, I always say it's not an acting technique. I'm not teaching you Meisner. I'm not teaching you Adler. I want you to have Meisner, Adler, Strasberg, Stanislavski, Michael Chekhov, everybody. I want you to go study all those people. And then I want to fill in the blanks. So we're not teaching a technique. We're teaching you basically how to act. And for some people, the best thing for me to do is to have a session with you and then have you sleep on it and have it like do whatever it does inside of you. And then you get up tomorrow morning and then you go to your self-tape place and let's see what that performance is then.
Yeah.
Other people, I need to be in the room and I need to do, nope, go back. You missed that moment. Nope. What's happening in that moment? What do you think when he says that? Right. But everybody's different. And little by little, we get to know you and we know what's best for you. Did that answer that question?
Yeah. I was just curious though, like, do you get nervous if you are working with somebody and they're almost there or maybe not, and then you send them off to the room and you're like, oh, I really hope they do, as opposed to like a self-tape where you can work and get them to where you want them to go?
Oh, you are adorable.
Oh, no.
You think that I can work in a self-tape and absolutely get you where I want you to be in the freaking 25 minutes you scheduled with me for 18 pages? Have you lost your freaking mind?
So
now, listen, if it's if it's somebody that I've known for a while and we have a shorthand, yeah, I can probably do it in 10 minutes, right? But if it's somebody I don't know, and the other thing is that people have a real different psychology about acting. Like, if somebody picked you up in the mall and
where did that New Jersey accent come from?
Because malls are all malls. You don't say mall. You go. Everybody goes to the mall, right? So if CAA picked you up in the,
I don't go to malls.
I do too.
I online shop.
But still, a lot of kids do go to the mall, and they're beautiful. And some casting director says, "Oh, you're great," and they get them a job, and then they get with CAA, and they don't know that acting is a craft and that you can be superb at it. They just think that acting is memorizing lines and looking really pretty and having good hair.
Yeah.
And so those people come in and, and they're getting to audition for the lead in the film because it's CAA and they don't know. Unless this person is a savant, I'm not going to nail it with them in an hour coaching. It's just not probably going to happen. They need to learn some stuff unless they're a savant.
So a couple follow-ups to that. Do you get, so are you, I assume I know the answer. Are you not satisfied then if somebody comes with a 25-minute self-tape, you don't get it? Do you tell them, let's work longer? Or do you just tell them this, you could do better, work on this more? Or
It depends. Completely depends on the person. And the role and the given circumstances. A girl recently, beautiful woman, wanted to make, how sometimes you actors make tape because you don't have tape. And so you go to one of those companies that helps you. We use a company called The Real Essence, and they're gorgeous. Their tapes are beautiful. But I said to her, no. And she said, oh, no, but I need to make the tape now. And I go, no, you are not ready to make this tape. You're paying to make this tape.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not even an audition.
Yeah.
It's scenes that were written for you that are really excellent, and your acting is not there yet. Please wait. I know the people that run the company. I will ask them if they can, just not charge you, even though you're supposed to do it tomorrow, and let's do it in 6 months when you know what you're doing, and when you're listening, and when I'm not going to see it. You're not basically paying all this money for a bad tape. So, but that was this specific person. Another person who is perhaps an influencer with 20 million followers, I don't think that, and this role is fine, and what they're doing is very good. It's not great. It's not what a great actor could do, but I think they're going to pick the influencer over the great actor anyway, because they want the 20 million people. So that person, no, I'm not going to torture that person. I'm going to go make the freaking tape, go have a good time, and they're going to book it anyway. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It totally depends on your individual situation and this individual audition.
I appreciate that. I think that's important context to put in. And in that first case, that's something that frustrates me with actors. It's like they sort of take for granted auditions and they just want to get it done. And it's like, if you want to be an actor, you need to learn how to enjoy to audition and really work on it and really take the time to memorize lines and really take the time to figure out your background and your thoughts and go through all the clues in the script. And if you're not enjoying that, why would you be an actor? Because that's, in my experience, 95% of what you're doing is auditioning. So
again, I think it depends on the person. I don't think everybody has to enjoy the craft and working on it and doing the research and figuring out the history. I think some people can freaking pick up the paper, see it, do it, and nail it.
Yeah.
And they should just go with God and have a wonderful time. I resent the shit out of them, right? But it's like, I always say that some people come out of the womb and they can freaking play 13 instruments, right? I hate those people. I love them. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of those people because I, piano lessons for years and I still can play chopsticks and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So some actors come out of the womb and they just get it.
Yeah.
They get it in a way that most of us didn't. And you might say, but Leslie, you went to Yale. And I'm like, you must have been very good. You must have been one of those people that came out of the womb like that. I did. I came out of the womb being able to do a lot of it, but not all of it.
Right.
And that's what I needed to learn that I didn't learn. So, yeah, if you are not a savant, if you did not come out of the womb being able to play the 13 instruments, being just a genius actor out the gate, then yes, it would be great if you loved the process of it. And if you don't, it's going to be a very miserable life for you because unfortunately you need to get that craft. You need to learn it. And if you don't think it's fun, then please God, why would you do this?
That's what I'm saying. But I don't even think you need to love it. I think you just need to be in it and not hurry through it necessarily.
I don't see how you be in it and you don't hurry through it unless you get the biggest kick out of it. Like to me, just doing this right now with you was about the most fun I could possibly have.
You got lit up there for sure. You got
right?
really excited. How long do you think how long do you think is too long to work on a self-tape? And I know you want to come back to this.
Again, I'm going to keep. There is no answer for that. Are you putting on tape 18 pages that you shouldn't have to put on tape because didn't your union make it so that you only have to do 8 pages and you get 48 hours? Don't get me started. Or are you putting on 2 pages? But that doesn't even matter. What really matters is how excellent is your acting? How quickly can you do what we just did here?
Right.
Is pick it up. If you can pick it up in 5 minutes, and then you spend 5 minutes, doing maybe 3 runs of it, it's done in 10.
Sure.
Okay. But that's what is interesting to me about you. That's what I kept listening to you. This is why I was excited to come and talk to you to see if I could help you, because those are the questions you keep asking casting. How long should I work on the tape? How long, that's not the question. The question is, are you a consummate actor? Can you look at this half page and nail it in 2 minutes? Can you look at those 18 pages and nail it in a couple of hours? Until you can, we don't even want to, you shouldn't be making self-tapes. As far as I'm concerned, as long as you've got a dent in your car, you shouldn't be auditioning. I don't want you making self-tapes. I don't want you doing anything. Unless you have a coach who, like me, can look at this for 1 second, tell you how to do it, and you can exactly do that. Yeah. Unless you can do that in a coaching session, I don't want anybody with a memory seeing you act ever.
Sure. That's very to the point, and I appreciate that, and that's very honest. I'm curious, though, why'd you just look like you scared?
Because I feel like when I say something like that I'm trying so hard to protect you. And
me specifically, or people in general?
An actor who would what was that word you said about me? I'm polarizing?
Polarizing.
Right. So I think a polarizing actor would maybe hear me say what I just said and go, see, she's such a bitch. She thinks she's that, and the next thing, and that I shouldn't even get to audition. Well, maybe you shouldn't be auditioning, right? And you don't know that.
Well,
and that worries me. And so I don't know how to not say this stuff, Mike. Well, I don't know how to not say that to you.
I agree. And that goes back to my point of the idea of it frustrates me that actors hurry through an audition and then send over something that isn't worthy of an audition.
They don't know. They don't know. They haven't had an epiphany.
Sure.
They haven't had the epiphany of, oh my God, I know what to do here. This is going to be, it's the difference between, I was going to bring you a cookie because I was thinking I'm going to have to tell him this. And I do. And I didn't bring you a cookie. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
Imagine that I show you a beautiful picture of a beautiful chocolate chip cookie. Oh. And then I hand you one of those incredible chocolate chip cookies from Starbucks.
Okay.
Which one do you want?
The real one.
Right. So I think a lot of people don't understand that there are real chocolate chip cookies on the planet. Oh. I think they only think there are pictures of chocolate chip cookies, and that's what they're bringing to their auditions.
Sure.
And so what I want them to do is taste the chocolate chip cookie from Starbucks, right? Yeah. And they're going to be like, dude, now that I've tasted that, that's the only thing I want to eat.
I mean, for what it's worth, you're selling your class to me right now, honestly, just with your passion and intensity. So even if you get nobody from this, it's working on me. You're like, alluring me in a weird sort of siren kind of way with your intensity.
Well, but I wish it wasn't my intensity. I wish it was the substance of what I'm saying. I wish you were getting.
They go hand in hand.
But maybe
because you believe so much what you're saying, there is a passion and intensity to it. And so it goes hand in hand. I would be curious though, what would you ask a casting director if you were me, the next casting director I have? You thought I was asking the wrong questions. What would you ask a casting director?
I don't think you should be asking a casting director anything.
Oh.
I think casting directors have a completely different job, and they're unbelievable at it. I mean, many years ago, early on, it was in the 90s, I saw a show, I don't remember what the show was. Treat Williams was in it. That's all I can tell you. But I saw this kid play the lead on this Treat Williams TV show, and Patrick Rush cast the show. And I had reason to know Patrick. I don't know. For some reason, we were vaguely friendly. And I think I called him because we used these things called telephones then, where you actually called people and spoke to them. Yeah. And I went, this kid that you cast on this show is the greatest thing in the world. You're a genius. And he was like, oh, yeah, I really had to push him because he was, I think this is what he said. I could be making it up. Yeah. It was 1,000 years ago. But I recall that he said something like, yeah, I don't know that the powers that be necessarily agreed with me, but I knew that it would. And I'm like, you are a genius that you know, because what casting can do is they can look at the whole show and they can go, see, this guy should be the father. But then if this guy is the son and this woman is the wife, then look at what this happens. And this would be good for this and this would be good for this. And they remember every actor that they've ever seen. And they're working with the creatives and the writers and the producers and everybody who's doing the sound and the lights and the props and the wardrobe. And they are the vision. They talk to the creators, and then they go and make the vision. This is a skill. Their job is to see if you fit that vision or not.
Right.
It is not to tell you how to fit that vision.
I see.
The second you don't fit that vision, the second you don't have any tires on your car, they're like, not the vision. Next.
So wait, are you saying that I shouldn't be interviewing any casting directors?
No, I want you to interview casting directors because I love hearing what they say. It is a completely
for you selfish, but yes. For me, I shouldn't be doing it because I'm giving them.
Dude, you should be listening to every acting teacher on the face of the earth if you want to be an actor. You should be
right. So I shouldn't be interviewing casting directors because.
You can interview casting directors. They're going to say, basically what I'm saying. That's what he basically said. They're saying, be excellent. It's not up to them to know how you should be excellent. They have a different job, though. Their job isn't to make you excellent. And that's what we think it is. That's why we're so upset about these self-tapes, because we used to get to go in the room, and Jeff Greenberg we would do our audition for Jeff Greenberg, and then he would say, good, come back at 5, and at 5, take this note, this note, this note, this note, and this note. And he'd give us 14 notes. Maybe he'd let us do it again, and he'd go, you missed this, this, and this. Do it again? Excellent. Come back at 5, right?
Yeah.
And we thought that that's what the casting director's job was. We are now finding out that's not their job. Jeff was just nice. He was just nice, and he went, you're a good young actor. I think I might be able to make a miracle for you and get you this job.
Yeah.
Let me help you. Now, they don't have time to do that anymore.
Right.
Now they have to see 300 people a day. Right? And so they don't get to help us with our performance. We need to go in, and our performance needs to be unassailable from the get. And then they get to see 5 guys, right? Who they get to send their creatives 5 guys who nail the fuck out of this, all the tires, no dents anywhere. And that the guys go, oh, I like the short one. No, I like the tall bald one. And I like the one with the beard. No, I like this. And then they have a big fight. And usually what happens is they all fight about it and nobody agrees. And so the person with the most power who owes the least favors wins or something. And then every once in a while it's a slam dunk and everybody's like the one with the beard.
Yeah.
But you actors think, well, maybe they'll like me. Maybe they'll like me because of my special sauce. And that's because that's what we're told. We're told by casting, go in and do something different. Don't do what the other actors are doing. Do something different. So you have these actors going in with French accents and lisps. And there's no French accent or lisp on this paper. There's this. Do this. Do what's written on the paper. No one is doing what's written on the paper. Everybody is coming in with their special box sauce. This scene does not say, please include box sauce. And again, the box sauce is the grout. It's going to show up anyway.
Stop saying box sauce.
I think that should be the name of the podcast. Box sauce.
That was a great monologue. Holy cow. That's really interesting. I will say this, though. You kind of are convincing me I shouldn't be interviewing casting directors because I'm like, now they're going to see me, which you said putting me in the audition is not good, and then they're only going to see me. And if I don't fit in that role, they're probably not going to be able to see past me.
No, what they're seeing, because you're 9,000 things today. I've just seen you be 9,000 different things.
Thank you.
Well, because you're at ease. You're not worried about this. You're not worried about doing this right. You're not trying to be yourself. You're not trying to be a construction worker. You're not doing any of that. Because your attention is where? On me, which is where it's supposed to be when we're an actor. Our attention's supposed to be on what the other person is doing. Because you're doing that, I'm seeing 9,000 things in you, ways I could cast you. You should absolutely keep dealing with casting directors and keep in touch with them. Yeah. Right? Like if this one, I was listening to another one where I think she said she was an athlete and that she was thinking about being an athlete or a sports something. And she was a few podcasts ago. And find out who that is. Watch sports. Right? And, write her a little thing about, oh, did you see when this athlete did blah, blah, blah the other day? Here's the tape of it. It was so cool. You would love it. Stay in touch with her. Yeah. Keep people, remind them, these people see hundreds of people a day. Even with their astounding memories, there is no fucking way that they're going to remember you. So the best thing for you to do is, maybe if you follow her on, Instagram, send her that tape that you saw that she would love because of what she said to you in the interview. Yeah. Who was that? I'm trying to think. I don't even remember. Sad. I would know if you said the name. It was a casting director? It was a casting director. It was a woman. Jen Presser? Jessica Sherman? No. I think I probably... Gianna Butler? No, hold on. I'm going to give you the name. Keep your pants on. Hey. Sorry, I'll zip them back up. Michelle Lewitt. Oh, Michelle. Oh, yeah. I do need to follow up with her. That's a great point. But it's funny you say that because I literally just put on my thing. I had a commercial come out recently, and people keep telling me they see it on Hulu and stuff. And I literally have on my to-do list for this weekend to email it to casting directors and say, hey, I just shot this. Hope you're well. Thought I'd share it. Good. And do you feel good about that? Well, obviously, I'm going to put a little box sauce on it. Well, you should put box sauce on it. For those not watching, she did not like my email at all. Well, so let's say, what's the commercial? Tell me what you do in the commercial. I am. It's a couple lines. I'm a bounce house put up guy. I put up a bounce house at the wrong house for a Ring doorbell. Great. So it's a comedy. Oh yeah, great. That's my wheelhouse. So you can give, again, your because has to be excellent. Not, I just did this, so you should watch it so you see that I act. Yep. Okay, we know that you act. But I thought you'd like this because it reminded me of that scene in your show where so-and-so did such and such. Love that. And, that this is the kind of character that I could play. I thought you might like to see me do this because I see characters like this on your show. Yeah. Right? And so... what you're doing is you're trying to help the casting director do her job. You're trying to help Michelle Lewitt, who loves sports, have a nice day when you show her this amazing thing that her favorite athlete did. You're helping her instead of, do this favor for me. So if you just send an email going, I did this commercial, you should see that I did it. Yeah, what do I get out of that, says the casting director, right? You should see this commercial I did because my character is like these 3 characters that are on your show. I think you might be able to use me. I could help you. I agree 100%, except for your impression of me. That's not how I sound. I'm sorry. I think everybody sounds like that. I will work on my impression. No, I'm kidding. Your impression was like, do that. And that's not accurate? I'm so confused. You're right. That's a nice burn. That's really funny. What else you want to know? Wow, that's yeah. I don't disagree, and it's funny that is on my list, and that's a great. I think that's great feedback for everybody. Is like stay in touch and stay top of mind. Good. Take it off your list and put it on your schedule. Mike Chat says this. He's that great guy who does all the martial arts training. He says take it off your list and put it on your schedule. So every Tuesday, you email X amount of people with the latest thing you've done, or you put it on Instagram, or you put it on TikTok, as long as we still have TikTok, or you do whatever it is you do, to let the people who love you, your fans, like Michelle Lewitt, and like Robert Ulrich know that what you're doing them a favor. When I put out that we're doing, that Isaiah is going to come and do a singing class with me, I mean, Isaiah is the most extraordinary singing teacher on the planet. And you just want to be in the room with this motherfucker, whether you sing or you don't, because he brings God in the room. It is out of this world. So those classes fill within 5 seconds of me announcing them. I am not trying to get people into that class. I'm doing you a favor. I need you to know that this is happening because I don't want you to miss out. And you'll be mad at me if you go, Leslie, you didn't tell me Isaiah was going to do a class. I don't want you to be mad at me, so I'm telling you.
But don't you think what you just told me is the business of this industry, and that's perfect for a business class? Schedule, touch base with people, put it in your schedule.
But we talk about that. You asked me at the beginning, do I teach business of the business? Yes,
so you're teaching that in the regular class.
Yeah.
I see.
It's all the same thing.
Sense. You mentioned earlier, like I think your phrasing was like a pretty person with a nice smile thinks that's all it takes to be an actor.
It is for many people.
I know, and the question for that.
Good for them.
And no,
I'm jealous though.
Okay, let me get the question out, Leslie.
No.
She's trying to drink her water, which I love, and she's talking while drinking her water.
I can do it. I multitask.
You're a pro. You're doing 9,001 things.
Thank
a little better than me.
No,
do you resent, and it sounds like no, you don't, but do you resent when you sort of see those people come up on your TV consistently? Like somebody that you don't have to name names, obviously. I don't want you to name names, but like somebody you think is just a pretty face and they keep getting work. Does that frustrate you then?
No.
When people like you are dealing with really good people coming through your doors on a consistent basis, working and getting better and improving, and then somebody like that just kind of comes in and... Listen,
when I watch TV, I'm not really aware of it. And I have a little of that prosopagnosia where I don't remember faces. Okay. And so it takes me many times and like emotional conversation before, like this has been an emotional conversation, so I'm going to remember your face. Oh but God. For most people, it takes me a while to recognize the face.
Yeah.
So no, but, and when I have repeat actors, when a beautiful, pretty face comes in and coaches or takes class, I have no resentment. I'm like, you are my favorite person on the planet. Because even though you're breathtakingly beautiful and have a gorgeous smile and a beautiful speaking voice, and people are going to give you a job just because you're walking down the street, you still want to be good. Yeah. And you want me to be able to turn on the TV and be really moved by the story that you're in. You want to change my life because that's really why we're doing it. We're doing it because what did the guys do when they came home from 9/11? What did the first responders do? They turned on the television.
Oh.
They got a beer and they turned on the television because they wanted to escape from the horror that they had just lived through. And that's why we turn on the TV. It's why we go to a movie, because we want to escape our lives. Yeah. So I'm ecstatic when this gorgeous person whose face I want to look at wants to be a great actor. I'm thrilled. I'm less thrilled, very less thrilled when they don't care. And they aren't willing to learn in order to make my experience as, the buyer of the HBO and the Netflix and the Hulu and the Apple TV. I am resentful when they don't know or care enough to make my experience amazing.
Yeah. By the way, my dear friend Brandon Sornberger, who I like to shout out on every podcast, he's taking your class. Big fan of he's in the big fan camp, by the way.
Oh,
he loves you. He thinks you're phenomenal.
Thank you.
But to that point, do you have any actors that have come through your program that now you think we would all know and are really doing good work? Can you name a couple of those?
No. I am not. Okay. So there are some ethics issues in here. And my father was the world's most...
Wait, what is the ethics issues?
My father was an attorney. And it was all about ethics for him. He was like the one honest attorney that ever lived on the planet. And I worked for him for summers, and I was very influenced by him. And he was always, you don't exploit people. You don't ever exploit anybody. If they want to exploit, they can exploit. But you don't do it.
I see.
You don't ask anybody for anything. And so if some of those actors want to say, yes, I studied with Lesly Kahn, that would be great. I'm thrilled if they do. But I don't feel that it's correct for me to use their names.
I don't think that's ethics. I think that's just you being humble.
Okay, in my mind, it might be. I don't think I have that much humility, honest to God. I think it's my father's voice in my head going, you don't get to say it. It's not up to you. It's not your experience. It's their experience.
Sure. Do you have any testimonials on your website of actors right now?
Same reason.
You don't have it? Oh, no. Okay.
I don't.
Even if they like reached out and said, can I give you a testimonial? You'd turn it down?
One person over 35 years has reached out and asked to give me a testimonial. I don't reach out.
Right. But that's crazy. Huh.
Well, to me, I look.
But there's a lot out there that you are.
Listen, I look at some other teachers' websites. Like when we're redoing our website, we look at other teachers' websites. And all of the people that I would ask to write a testimonial are on everybody else. We've all coached the same people. So what are we taking credit for?
I'm taking it. I apologize in advance. Don't get mad at me, Leslie. I'm taking a different teacher's class in May, and they have testimonials on their website. That's
well, so no, funny. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
My people are really upset with me that I don't do it. But somehow I've survived without dropping names and without having testimonials.
How many people you got?
What do you mean?
You said my people. How many people you got? You got a lot of people?
You mean in my office? What is he talking about? What is he talking about?
You just said my people want me to do it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when you say my people,
the people in my office, my teachers, everybody wants me to do it.
I was making a joke. I aspire to have people.
We need to work on
I aspire to have a team of people. We're well over an hour. The last question I ask is, who took a chance on you?
Oh, I would say Marymount Manhattan College.
Oh, tell me why.
That was my first teaching job.
Oh, that's awesome. Wait, where's that at?
In New York.
New York.
Yeah, I had never taught anything before. I had an MFA, but I think they took a chance on me.
That's very cool.
I don't know who else took a chance on me.
She's asking our studio audience.
There's a fabulous studio audience here, you guys. Who else took a chance on me?
I mean, 30,000 or however many students that came through your doors took a chance on you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think usually somebody hears about me from somebody else.
Yeah.
And then usually what happens is, somebody's friend calls and says, hey, I have this audition. I don't know what to do with it. So they help their friend with the audition, and the friend has studied with me. And so pretty much instantly the friend fixes the audition.
Yeah.
And so the friend is like, how the fuck did you do that? Did you fix that in 4 seconds? And you go, Lesly Kahn. So I think that's how that works.
Yeah.
Did that answer?
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to really regret this.
No, I like the Marymount College one. That's very
but I think there's going to be like a much better one. And
all right, we'll run the scene once. Yay! You'll give me feedback.
Okay, good.
And then if you think of any, we can do it.
Okay.
You want a reverse and a reverse, right? Is what I heard.
I want you to think the character's thoughts and be the character.
Oh, yeah. That's fair. Okay. Streets closed. Got to go out the other way.
Who are you looking at?
I'm looking at my thing.
Don't look at your phone. You can read. You can look down and see that line and look up at me. Play the scene with me, dude.
Streets closed. Got to go out the other way.
What is your moment before?
I'm just working.
Okay. What are you working at?
I'm working on.
Do construction workers write things?
I'm writing down the specs for the.
You're a construction worker. You're not the lead construction worker.
Okay.
You're walking around, and you probably, some idiot probably just drove by and knocked over the cone.
Okay.
Right. So what are you thinking?
I am thinking, what a fucking asshole!
Another motherfucker. Say, look, another motherfucker.
Another motherfucker. Streets closed. Got to go out the other way.
Good, and it's two different things. Just say streets closed and stop.
Streets closed. Got to go out the other way.
Good. Why do you say got to go out the other way? What do you think when I go like I did?
I get annoyed.
That's how you feel. What do you think?
Oh.
Yeah. So let's do that again. This motherfucker. Say it. I can't.
This motherfucker. Streets closed. You got to go out the other way.
See? Good. And then I go, you can't just close the road because you're remodeling this woman's house. You probably just think that she's a woman, but she's a fucking bitch. Come on, man. Just fucking move the cone. You lift up the cone.
Fine.
So what needs to happen here is a reversal. So what are you going to think there?
I'll help these guys out.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't understand that this woman was a bitch. I didn't understand. Say that right now.
I'm sorry. I didn't understand. I'm sorry.
And now say fine.
Fine. Roads open.
So no, but why didn't he just write fine roads open? Why did the writer write fine period roads open? Because something happens after fine. So he goes, come on, man, just move the cone. And you're like, I'm sorry, I'm being an asshole. Fine. Okay.
I'm
and then
sorry.
the guy doesn't go. So you say,
Got it.
say, why aren't you driving?
Why aren't you moving?
Yeah.
Roads open. Go.
Yeah, good. And then you put the cone back. And now what happens? So you go, roads open.
Reverse.
The guy doesn't do it. He doesn't drive in. And so in your audition, you have to have something in your hand that you have picked up to be the cone that you then drop with a noise on the floor. Okay?
Okay.
And then you drop the cone and you go.
Oops.
So look at what happens there. So you're here and you're going, I'm sorry, you're right, fine. And then go ahead. The road's open. It's great. And then you go, okay? So then you drop the thing. So
Yep.
you go, fine, road's open. It's good, right? And you drop the cone. Oops, road's closed, right? Too late, right? And then you get a laugh.
Yeah.
That's what they wrote. They didn't write a general construction worker. They wrote a brilliant genius piece of tape for you to have.
Yeah.
Okay? Do it.
Okay.
It's right there on the paper. I'm not making this up. I'm not a brilliant director. I am reading what the writer wrote for us to do. I am looking at his instructions. It's like when you go to IKEA and you bring home the thing. You have to follow the instructions exactly. You can't go, come on, they don't fucking mean this. I'm not going to do that.
Right.
You end up with plywood all over your floor.
Plywood.
Isn't it plywood?
I think it's MDF.
Whatever it is. So
I'm sorry. Fine.
It says,
Roads open.
Go back. I go, come on, man, just move the cone.
Fine.
No, but love me. I'm sorry. I'm a dick. I'm just being a dick construction guy. Good.
I'm sorry. Fine. Mm-hmm. Roads open.
Good. And then?
Oops.
You could, but I don't think you need to turn that hard.
Okay.
Because you go, fine, I'm a dick. Road's open. You can go. And then this is your reversal. By dropping the thing, you reverse. And then you go, oops. Look at what happened. Road's closed. Oh, you poor baby. Too late. You understand?
Yeah.
Do you understand that Robert Ulrich now thinks you're a genius? Do you understand what all that's?
Yeah.
And this is all he did in his podcast. Is
Yeah.
he kept saying specificity, specificity, specificity. But we actors don't understand what he means. Are you starting to see what he means?
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is how you set yourself apart. Not with an accent, not with a lisp, not with a limp.
But if you do a lisp and an accent, that could be enough.
I don't think so. I honestly feel that he's going to go, where'd this fucker see the lisp and the link? That's not what he is. He's saying this construction worker has a point of view about these people, and the writer wrote it, and he wants you to do it.
Yeah. Leslie, this was really great. Thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thank you for
I really
having
appreciate
me.
it.
It was fun.
You get a tail slate to end it.
What does that mean?
Just say your name or whatever.
Okay.
Just slate your
Hi. I just say my name? Why?
They make us do this in auditions at times. Tail
I'm
slates.
not auditioning.
Well,
I am very aggressively not auditioning.
That's the container with which this podcast.
Hi, I'm Lesly Kahn. I am not an actress.
That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
MTV and the Channel E. A thing for celebrity.
We don't know from this box, Elder.